As dawn breaks over New York City, the cool air serves as a reminder of the beauty and fragility of life. Yet, lurking beneath this tranquil surface is a profound and unsettling reality, the potential for nuclear catastrophe. Imagining a scenario where a nuclear weapon detonates in such a densely populated urban center highlights the immense destructive power of these devices and the far-reaching consequences they would entail. To understand the magnitude of such an event, we can look back at the bomb known as Little Boy, which was dropped on Hiroshima in 1945. With an explosive yield of around 15 kilotons of TNT, it caused unparalleled devastation, resulting in significant loss of life and widespread destruction. If a bomb of similar scale were to be detonated in Manhattan today, the outcome would be far more catastrophic, exacerbated by the city's dense population and towering infrastructure. Upon detonation, the immediate effects would be staggering. A fireball with a radius of approximately 200 meters, 650 feet, would incinerate everything within that zone, buildings, vehicles, and countless lives, all vaporized in an instant. The intense heat generated by the explosion would reach temperatures hotter than the surface of the sun, instantly turning steel and concrete to molten slag. The blast wave that follows would propagate outward, causing severe structural damage to buildings as far as 340 meters, over 1,000 feet, away. The shock wave would shatter glass, collapse structures, and wreak havoc on the urban landscape. The death toll from this initial blast would likely be in the tens of thousands, with many more left severely injured. Beyond the immediate destruction, the ensuing firestorm would engulf vast portions of the city, igniting fires that would rage uncontrollably. The extreme heat would cause third-degree burns to individuals located within an area of about 11 square kilometers, 4.4 square miles, from ground zero. These burns would extend through the skin layers, often resulting in severe scarring, disfigurement, and the potential for amputations. Survivors would face not only physical injuries but also psychological trauma as they grapple with the aftermath of such an unthinkable event. The fallout from the explosion presents another grave concern. Radioactive debris would be propelled into the atmosphere, carried by wind patterns that could distribute contamination over vast distances. This radioactive fallout would render the environment hazardous, complicating the efforts of any survivors and emergency responders who might attempt to provide assistance. The overwhelming scale of destruction would stretch local emergency services to their limits, making rescue operations nearly impossible. Hospitals, inundated with casualties, would struggle to provide even basic care, while the city's infrastructure would be in shambles. The psychological impact on survivors would be profound and long-lasting. Witnessing the devastation and the loss of loved ones, the inhabitants of New York would confront a reality marked by trauma and despair. The path to recovery would be arduous and fraught with challenges, potentially taking years or even decades. Many would struggle with post-traumatic stress disorder, anxiety, and depression as they navigate the new landscape of their lives. However, while this scenario paints a harrowing picture, the likelihood of such an event occurring remains a topic of debate. The prospect of terrorists acquiring and deploying a nuclear weapon is a significant concern, but the actual execution of such a plot is exceedingly complex and unlikely. More often, the threat of nuclear conflict arises from tensions between nation-states equipped with these formidable arsenals. New York City, while a critical cultural and economic hub, is less likely to be a primary target in a nuclear exchange due to its lack of significant military installations. Instead, strategic military targets, such as Washington, D.C., which houses key political and military leadership, are often viewed as more viable options for a nuclear strike. Attacking these locations would aim to cripple the U.S. command structure and diminish its capacity for a retaliatory response. Yet, a chilling strategy known as counter-value targeting introduces a dark dimension to nuclear warfare. This approach involves targeting densely populated civilian areas to maximize casualties and instill widespread fear and panic. By inflicting devastating losses on civilian populations, the intent is to break the adversary's will to fight. The United States and Russia maintain some of the largest nuclear arsenals in the world, remnants of the Cold War arms race, with thousands of warheads capable of delivering catastrophic destruction. For instance, Russia's arsenal is estimated to include around 5,997 nuclear warheads, while the United States is not far behind, with approximately 5,550. These staggering figures underscore the vast destructive potential that remains in existence today. Modern advancements in nuclear technology further amplify the risks associated with these weapons. The 28 rupees Sarmat missile, often referred to as Satan II, exemplifies the terrifying capabilities of contemporary nuclear arsenals. Designed to carry multiple warheads and evade missile defense systems, the Satan II missile represents a significant escalation in destructive power. Let's imagine a scenario in which a single 28 rupees missile is launched toward New York City. With a yield of up to 15 megatons of TNT, the explosion would far surpass that of the Hiroshima bomb. The initial fireball would engulf an area of over 4 kilometers, 2.5 miles, incinerating everything within that radius and leading to a death toll that could reach into the hundreds of thousands. The devastation would extend far beyond the immediate impact zone, with thermal radiation causing severe burns and igniting fires that would rapidly spread throughout the region. In an even more extreme hypothetical situation, consider the Tsar bomber, the most powerful nuclear weapon ever detonated, boasting a yield of 50 megatons of TNT. If such a weapon were to detonate over New York City, the consequences would be unimaginable. The fireball would consume everything within a 5-kilometer radius, resulting in the complete obliteration of buildings and infrastructure. The blast radius would extend to over 250 square kilometers, about 100 square miles, creating a landscape of utter destruction. The intense thermal radiation would cause severe burns extending up to 60 kilometers away, igniting fires across a vast area and leading to an uncontainable inferno. The psychological and social impacts of such a catastrophe would reverberate throughout the nation and the world, challenging the very fabric of society as communities would struggle to cope with the aftermath. While the idea of using nuclear weapons to trigger tsunamis or other catastrophic events has been discussed in theoretical terms, the practicality of such scenarios remains highly questionable. Projects like the Soviet-era Lavina, which aimed to create artificial tsunamis, highlight the extreme lengths to which nations have considered going in the context of nuclear warfare. However, the true power of nuclear weapons lies in their ability to inflict immediate and devastating destruction. In conclusion, the potential detonation of a nuclear weapon in a major city like New York presents a dire picture of chaos and suffering. The implications would extend far beyond the immediate loss of life, resulting in a global crisis with far-reaching consequences. As we navigate the complexities of international relations and nuclear proliferation, it is crucial to advocate for peace and diplomacy, recognizing the fragile balance that exists to prevent